Yeah, that kind of hurt. Roost here was pretty tough. So we're at round 8 of the OXCR 2021 season. We're off to a good start. Tony got a good hole shot there. I don't need to try to keep up with him, nor could I if I tried. Tony's been riding really good this year. I hear a 4-stroke behind me, and I know that that's Chad. He is right on my heels, and I think he has some local knowledge here because we come up and go up this hill, and Chad knew the better line. So there, Chad sneaks ahead of me on this uphill. So later in the race, I start taking that better line. So I really had no idea what to expect for this race. Obviously, we're way down in, I guess you'd say, eastern Kentucky. We're right on the Ohio River, but we're pretty far east in Kentucky. We're actually right across the river from Portsmouth. I think the little town we're in is called Quincy, but this uphill here, man, you were just hitting a lot of rock. You're really bouncing all over the place, and this is nothing compared to what it got to later. Once we dug all the dirt off the top of all that rock, it got pretty nasty. So I got some bonus footage later of the second lap and then the third lap. I think when I went up to do my 4th lap, I think is when they were shutting down that line and shooting everybody off to the left to get around that hill because it was just so much carnage on that hill. So I've got a couple of clips of me going up that hill on the 2nd and 3rd lap to show you how many people were struggling with that hill because it was a lot. So anyway, Tony's out front. He's already pulled away, and then Chad there's right in front of me. Those two guys are in the senior class, so I don't really have to keep up with them, but generally when I'm riding with Chad, I try to keep up with him. He's been riding really good this year, and if I can keep up with him, then I feel like I'll have a pretty good pace. So I'm just kind of following along. We're kind of feeling our way through here on the first lap. I was really hoping for some single track here, and this track ended up being pretty much all just this wide open stuff, and it was really fast. Probably faster than what I like to go. This track was just wasn't. I mean, there were a couple of sections that were kind of technical. That uphill was kind of technical, but I mean, most everything was just wide open. You know, so like going up this hill here, you're just trying to figure out how straight these trails are and how fast you can really go. And this being the first lap is a little bit slower. I mean, later in the race, once you got some berms on these hills, I mean, the people are just flying up these hills. Probably a little faster than what I was comfortable with going. I wasn't out of control or nothing, just awful fast to be going in the woods. I definitely prefer the harder, more technical tracks that keep the speeds down just a little bit. This track was just about holding it wide open. And there's once or twice during the race, man, I got behind a couple of 450s or something on these uphills, and man, this roost was brutal. Of course, there was probably a fair amount of people behind me that were thinking the same thing. So you can tell what we're riding here is just kind of like fire roads, really. I mean, there wasn't really anything that was single track. So it's all just about how fast can you go. I guess that's okay. We haven't really had a race like that, I would think, this year. But especially on these downhills and stuff, you know, you're really just kind of waiting to see what's coming, you know. You can look over to the right there, and you can see that we're on a pretty steep hill. So if you go off the you know, get a funny bounce off of a tire that flips up or something like that happens, and you go off the side there, man, you're going to be hating it. So, you know, I think Chad up there is probably riding just a little bit conservative, because I know coming down these hills I was riding a little bit conservative until I really got a handle on, you know, how straight they were and how steep they were and how much loose rock was in them. And down to the bottom here, and a little bit of mud here or there, but again, pretty much all just kind of fire road kind of stuff. A little wet down in here, but really what was not really very wet at all. I mean, was one of those races where you know, you didn't have 100 pounds of mud on your bike. It was some, but you know, not a mudder by any means. It was pretty much dusty out here in the open stuff. So this was kind of the slow line. There was a faster line off to the left there that we figured out later. And this uphill right here, I mean, once you get right there, I mean, you can just hold your bike wide open later in the race. The whole way up here, you could just have it pinned. But there were some, you see me there getting around a couple of big rocks. I mean, there's some tire pinchers up here in a few different spots. I wish I would have had about another pound of pressure, pound to pound and a half of pressure in my front tire, and maybe another pound in my back tire, because there's a couple of times during this race that I thought there was a good chance of getting a pinch flat. Up on another ridge here, and again, still just keeping Chad in my sights here. I think at the end of this ridge there's kind of a log laying in the trail. Yep, right here. It's definitely faster to just shoot over that log. Some people were going around it, but I think it was definitely faster to go over it. I think I made a pass or two there later on in the race. So we're kind of coming around the side of the property now, or maybe this is kind of the back and then working around to the side of it. I'm going to drop down over the hill that was on our left when we pulled in. Again, you can see this is just, it's really just about how fast you want to go. That's all that it really is. If you're willing to just totally hang it out, go as fast as you can in the woods, this was the place to do it. It's a fun little downhill coming up here. Really steep and loose. It was kind of fun to go down. We'll get to it here in a little bit. So I ended up first in this race. I seen that Chris got a pretty good start. He actually showed me a wheel there on the one of the first turns there. A couple guys missed that turn there. I think that was pretty common. This is the steep downhill. It was kind of fun. Got really loose later in the race. But anyway, Chris came around the corner there on the start, and looks like he got on it a little bit too hard there and slid out. I seen that on the starts video. And so he catches up to me later in the race, and then he gets stuck on that uphill, and I get a pretty good line up through there and weasel past everybody else. So I'll show you some footage of that. I think that's on probably the third lap is when that happens. So we're back down in the valley now. Came down the hill and running through the valley. Kind of a little bit of motocross kind of stuff down through here. I doubled this once, and it really was not worth it to double it, because when you doubled it, it was very hard to make that turn. You had to double it and just lock the brakes up, basically, try and make this turn. This is kind of a fun uphill. Again, I mean, you just keep it just wide open if you want it. were on the brakes a lot this race, that's for sure. Zach ended up getting third in pro, and he didn't have a GoPro on for this race, so not going to have any footage from him. Again, kind of a few jumps and some things here. So I guess this is MOB property. I think this is maybe a second property that they have, is kind of what I heard. So I guess you can ride here, but just not many trails yet. All the trails were kind of like what you see, what we're riding on. It was kind of like the trails, but definitely different. So we're going to come down through here and go through scoring. We didn't go up through the creek on the first lap, and so when we're coming around through the second lap, I'm right behind this guy right here, and so I kind of decide I'm going to time it, and I let this guy go up the creek, and I didn't, and it was definitely way faster to go up the creek. So this is the second lap, and this is coming up the hill. So I'll show you the second lap and kind of the carnage that was coming up through here in the second lap. Chad had pulled away from me just a little bit, and I actually get back by him. So I get up through here, and you know how it is when you start seeing the color everywhere. There's bikes everywhere, and everybody's stuck in this rock, and just trying to kind of weasel your way up through here. And I don't know how many passes that was already, but I think probably made 10 or 15 passes right here. Not necessarily anybody in my class, because I'm still in first right now. A little bit of patience here goes a long way. So there again, made a bunch of passes right there. Probably at least 15 bikes there struggling on that hill, and it's worse on the next lap. So I got some footage here of the next lap. I don't have dirt on my lens anymore on the next lap. I wiped a little bit after that. All right, so this is the third lap, and I still take this dumb long line. I realize where they're going up now for the rest of the race, so I take that shorter line. But so this is the third lap coming up this hill, and you'll see that it's even worse. Now Chris had gotten by me at this point, and he said he was stuck on this hill, and so I had to have made the pass back by him while he was stuck on the hill, because there's carnage everywhere, and I just weasel a pretty nice line right up through everybody. It's like everybody was spaced just far enough apart that I was able to just weasel right past everybody. That's that KTM 2-stroke XCW power. So that was about 6 bikes right there. And again, I just am able to just keep moving and just kind of there's Chad right there. I know he was starting to pull away from me a little bit now, but I just keep it just churning just enough, and man, just get almost lucky on just a beautiful line up through there and make a bunch of passes. And I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm at now, and so I'm just at this point going to sprint as hard as I can. Well, not necessarily as hard as I can, but I sprint pretty good here to keep her going. So hope you like the carnage and hope you like the video.